Hello YouTube, what's going on? It's Monday, it's this time of the week, it's Trials of the Week time. But first of all, let me say a couple of words. We've achieved our first little milestone on YouTube, which is hitting 100 subs, and I want to thank you very much for that. Second of all, I want to wish you and your families happy Easter. And third of all, I wanted to tell you that we've actually hit Cantina Legend this week without even trying too hard. We've done it solo, as always, live on twitch.tv/VannyP. You can check me out over there if you want. But as I said, it's Monday, it's Trials of the Week time. So let's take a look at this week's trials. The first trial of the week is Damage Arc Enemies in Old Town on Buried City. The second trial is Disarm Mines during Locked Gate. The third trial is Search Raider Caches. The fourth is Damage Wasps. And the fifth is Damage Vaporizers. As always, we're going to take a look at the trials on how to do them solo and how to do them in group play. I will share all the information that I have, all the knowledge that I have. No gatekeeping, no paywalls, no members only nonsense, nothing like that. The only thing I would like to kindly ask you as a favor in return, if you wouldn't mind, is to like and subscribe and maybe share the video with a friend if you're doing trials together. It would help me a lot with the YouTube algorithm. Once again, this week, we're not going to talk about the max points quite yet, because it seems like MBUG has changed a couple of points and a couple of values, and therefore the actual highest points that are listed right now on Metaforge might not be accurate anymore. So therefore we're going to skip this and just go to the solo and group strategies. Thank you very much. Now let's get into the first trial. The first trial of this week is Damage Arc Enemies in Old Town on Buried City. First we gotta define like what the Old Town is on Buried City. As far as we know right now, it's everything south of the highway right now. Damaging arc means every arc counts, therefore snitch scanners do count as well. The highest points you get, as always, for bombardiers and bastions. I'm assuming right now the best strategy for this is to kill the bastion or the bombardier and the leaper that spawns in the area and bring a bajillion of snitch scanners. By a bajillion, I mean, as a solo player, I would bring as many snitch scanners as I can carry, paired with a couple of wolf packs or deadlines to kill the bastion and the bombardier. Or I will probably position myself on top of the Santa Maria houses or on top of the red tower, kill the bastion or the bombardier, depending on which mode you're doing it. As always, you want to do it on a major map condition, therefore either night raid or close scrutiny. Kill the bombardier or the bastion and the leaper, and then keep throwing snitch scanners and pull every single arc you can see. If you're doing this in a group, that's a little bit of a different story. I would probably split up the following: one on top of Santa Maria, one on top of Red Tower, and one around Plaza Rosa. After killing the bombardier, leaper and bastion, use your snitch scanners. In the downtime, you can either pull the flying arc. If there is no flying arc that you can pull, you can even clear the buildings of pops and fireballs. Once again, you want to bring 10 to 11 stacks of snitch scanners. You want to bring wolf packs and deadlines, and then either Jupiters for all the flying arc or Hawkcracker, depending on what you feel more comfortable with. And obviously another weapon to like either PvP or kill the other flying arc, like for example a renegade. The second trial of this week is Disarm Mines during Locked Gate. Just as last time, you want to do this on Blue Gate on the Locked Gate event. This is a trial that solo is kind of a pain, just because you cannot split up yourself. Therefore, you have to loot one location after another, and by the time you get to the fourth location, the mines are probably gonna be disarmed by then. That being said, you want to bring a photoelectric cloak to avoid the rocketeers. Depending on your spawn, you want to rush to the closest POI possible where the mines spawn, those being the Ancient Fort, Raiders Refuge, Reinforced Reception, or Pilgrim's Peak. Let's assume, just for the sake of this video, that you spawn right here. I would go around, disarm one mine after another on Pilgrim's Peak. You disarm the mines by simply stepping on them. Don't run over them, just step on the mine, stand still, and then press E to disarm the mine. Now, after Pilgrim's Peak, you want to cycle to Reinforced Reception, from there to Raiders Refuge, and lastly to Ancient Fort. If you're not sure if you have any mines around, just stand still for a second and listen carefully. If you hear them beeping, there is a mine close by. As I said, just step onto them and disarm them. If you're doing this as a group, I would suggest immediately splitting up after the spawn. One player can go to doing reinforced reception in Pilgrim's Peak first, and then the third player probably going for Ancient Fort. The reason you want to do those locations first is because they are very, very highly contested areas where a lot of people go to, and you want to avoid mines exploding or being disarmed. If you really want to go for the maximum points possible, you might want to do this in PvP lobbies, just because people are then more focused on the PvP and less on disarming the mines. The third trial of this week is search raider caches. There are two things that you want to know about that. First of all, the first wave caches count as well and give a lot more points than the usual raider cache, which means you want to do this on a hurricane map condition. But the best map for this has always been Damn Battlegrounds, so you want to go to Damn Battlegrounds. Go to a page like arkraidersmaps.app or metaforge.com, and then look for Damn Battlegrounds to search the first wave caches. Since we want to play this on the Hurricane event, the hatches are active and you can use a raider hatch key to get out of the raid. Which means the first thing you want to do when you spawn in is to open up the map, see where you are, and plan your route that it ends on a hatch. You then want to run from location to location, open up the caches, and as I said, make sure to end up on a hatch. The reason you want to end on a hatch is because you can move more freely and are not forced to end your route on one specific extract, but you can use whatever hatch fits best for your route. You want to run to the locations and listen very carefully. The first wave caches are a little bit harder to hear because of the wind, but you can definitely hear them. Tap into the cache, don't sit there and loot the entire thing. Just tap into the cache and move on to the next one. You want to bring a snap hook and a couple of zip lines for faster traversal, especially against the wind. And you want to bring at least, I'd say, 30 stims, because you will need a lot of stamina running against the wind. If you're playing this in a group, it's a lot easier because you can just split up the map. I would suggest every player to bring one hatch key, because then everyone can take a different hatch and you don't have to waste time running to your teammates. If you're doing this in a group of 3, I would suggest the following split. One does the Red Lake and everything on this side of the dam. One does the entire swamp area, including the hydroponics and the water treatment, and one does the water towers and the electrical substation. The reason I'm suggesting the split is because you have one hatch in each part of this map. Therefore, every player can run one circle and circle back to the hatch. The fourth trial of this week is Damage Wasp. This is a trial that most of us have done a couple of times already. As always, you want to farm snitch scanners. Now, if you're solo, you want to bring as many as you can carry. If you're in a group, you want 10 to 11 stacks each. You can do this either on Base Spot on the Hidden Bunker event or on Blue Gate on the Locked Gate event. Scores should be quite similar. Me personally, I would prefer the Hidden Bunker event. As a solo player, I would bring a Survivor augment, obviously with probably a medium shield, 1 to 2 wolf packs, 2 Jupiters with 10 stacks of ammo, or a hole cracker, and probably position myself on top of the South Trench Tower, just because you have a couple of snitches spawning around you that you can easily pull from the South Trench Tower. I think those are kind of more or less where the snitches spawn. You can even pull the one that spawns around Plain Warehouse. Once you've pulled the snitches, kill the wasps. If the snitches are on cooldown, just keep throwing your snitch scanners. As a general rule of thumb, you can throw one snitch scanner every 30 seconds. As soon as the round starts, you want to throw 6 of them and then just wolfpack them. You can also make use of the antennas for the bunker, because once you've activated the antenna, it's gonna call in, I think, like 2 wasps and 1 hornet, or 2 hornets and 1 wasp. I'm not entirely sure anymore, but something like that. You can then go on and use 3 to 6 zip lines to traverse from South Trench Tower to either shipping warehouse or a rival building to have a slightly different field of view where you can pull your wasps and snitches from. If you're doing this in a group of 3, I would suggest 3-way split. 1 on top of South Trench Tower, 1 on top of the Control Tower A6, and 1 on top of the Guard Tower. From there, every player can pull the snitches around them. Once again, as I said, each player should bring 10 to 11 stacks of snitch scanners, because this results in maximum amount of scanners you can throw in total during the raid. Each player should also bring a hole cracker with a lot of ammo or 2 Jupiters. Pull every single wasp around you, pull every single snitch around you, and keep your snitch scanners on cooldown. Just throw them in front of your feet. If they didn't go off, pick them back up. As far as I know, the highest points on this trial have been achieved on Blue Gate, so I'm gonna go over the strat on the Lock Gate event as well. You wanna do a 3-way split as well. Now this is purely for group play, because if you're playing the solo, I think it makes no difference whether you play it on Hidden Bunker or on Lock Gate. But if you're playing this with a group of 3, you want to split up one on top of the maintenance bunker, one around the church, and one around the broken highway. Now, every player, once again, the same as on Hidden Bunker, every player should bring 10 to 11 stacks of snitch scanners. The guy on the highway side needs to rotate between highway and village and pull every wasp and snitch in this general part of the map, while the guy on maintenance bunker takes care of this area, and the guy around the church area takes care of this general area. Just a general overview. That's like the split you want to do if you're going for the really highest score possible. The last trial of this week is damage vaporizers. Now, there is not a load of data on this trial yet, because it's the first time this trial came up. I'm going ahead and assume that Dam is going to be the best map for this. The reason being is the vaporizer spawns on Dam are quite close together, and you have quite a decent amount of cover. Now, there is a chance that Blue Gate or even Buried City is better. We don't know yet. And since it's Monday and it's the first time, we will have to see how this evolves. I will update the pinned comment down below if anything changes. Now, from my experience, the fastest way to kill the vaporizer, and this is how I'm gonna go and try to do this trial solo. I'm gonna bring a hole cracker or a Jupiter to shoot the vaporizer so it pops its shield, and after it popped the shield, I will just wolfpack it, because there is like a small cooldown of the shield once the shield is gone. Myself, I'm gonna do my solo trial on Dam Battlegrounds. The reason being is I'm going to position myself around this general area, and I can traverse the map with basically 4 zip lines and pull other vaporizers as well if I need to. But from what I've seen so far on Close Scrutiny, the majority amount of assessors spawn in this general area and in this general area, and from my position here, I will be easily able to pull everything, and I have a decent amount of cover. If you're doing this in a group, I would suggest you split up just slightly to pull the vaporizers faster, but the idea remains the same. You want to use either your Jupiter or your hole cracker to pop the shield of the vaporizer, and afterwards just throw a wolf pack, or if you feel fancy, snap hook up on top of the vaporizer and use your deadline. As always, if you found this video to be helpful, please consider liking and subscribing. It would help me a lot with the algorithm. I wish you the best of luck in your trials. If you have any questions, feel free to let me down in the comments down below. Good luck topside. I'll see you in the next one. Peace.